Good evening. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Wednesday, the 4th of September, 2024, about 5:35, right in that area, p.m. Central Time. All right, another day where the markets were down. The markets that are still getting hit are obviously in the energies. You're taking U.S. crude down near the $69 area, Brent down to 72. The gold's been able so far to stay over the 2,500 level. Silver bounced back a little bit because it got creamed yesterday. The copper market still not getting much of a bounce of anything, and platinum not getting much of anything here either. Now, I do want to remind everybody as we get into the news that's going to be tomorrow, let me bring that up for you if I could. Here we go. That before we do anything, September 8th, which is right around the corner, is when my sale ends. If you're interested in be it in the futures market, instead of $180 for 3 months of my full services, the videos, the written updates, $99. $84 for 3 months of the combo package, which is the morning subscriber video for futures and the morning for the Spider ETF. And in both of those, I cover all the recommendations that I make until you're either out with a profit or a loss, and I track it for you each day so that you can get it. In the Spider ETF one, you even get an email of all that. Not in the futures, because in futures you can upgrade and get the full research, and then you're getting the intraday updates as well. 3 months of just the futures by itself, instead of $45, $29, $48, nope, $32 for just the Spider ETF. And even in these markets, we've been doing very well there, which is very nice to see at this point in time. All you need to do is move your cursor to the top up here. That is the way to reach it. You'll see an icon, and that is how you get there. If you have questions, call my staff. Got it? So let's go to one other thing that we have now. What we're going to have tomorrow at 7:15 is the ADP private sector employment number. The market is expecting 140 versus the 122 in the last report. So I got to tell you something, that'd be more. We're not seeing that show up in today's JOLTS report, which showed instead of an 8.1 million jobs being offered, you lost about 400,000. That's important. You went down. Jobless claims are expected at 225 versus last week's initial claims of 231. We're going to get final, and this is where we go in for the revisions of second quarter revision of the productivity. No matter what they do, it's a revision. You're already built in the number. It would have to be a dramatic change. Final services PMI, same thing there. ISM services, new PMI data, that will come out for the first time. And they're expecting it at 51%, down a little bit from the 51.4 that we saw when we were in July. Remember, that's going to be an August number. And we get petroleum stocks on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. So there is a lot of data coming out. But as I was saying to you, and we should go to the charts now, you're looking at metals having an interesting time. Number one, gold is not falling out of bed. The way to look at it isn't necessarily all the time on a daily chart. Sometimes you just take a weekly chart of closes, and that gives you a picture that takes away some of that swing that you get. You're down 2.3%, you're down $2.30 or 0.09%. Think about that for the week. In other words, you haven't moved very much whatsoever. You don't see that when you go to these charts. You go, oh, the market's falling out of bed. That isn't the case, all right? And so for the week, yes, we have put in a resistance top here. We have fallen back. The question is, what does the market want to do? Because it's not trending. What you have is a pattern of a higher high. This 25.6430 was higher than that high, and then you broke down in the market. You're not trending. A trend would be lower highs, lower lows. You don't have that pattern on it. Where's the market fighting a battle? Do you see the 18-day moving average of closes? That's your battle number. Please take my full charting course if you haven't. I explain why markets in that go often back to this number to figure out what the next move of the market is going to be. When it returns like that, you're in neutral status. And that's what I think gold is right now. No trend hanging around the 18-day average. It didn't make it up to break from the upper Bollinger Band. It stalled here and went, as I showed before, across there. The question is, can it get down to the lower band for support at 24.8560? It need not. When you take a look at momentum, everything's been made. You had a market that lost its bullish momentum here. It is worked off. Now, it is past tense. It is no longer overbought. When a market locks into a bull trend, like it did back here even, and the slow stochastics embed, when the market first loses that reading, it becomes terribly overbought. And how you correct an overbought condition is you either break or you trend sideways. More times than not, if you've had a good run with the embedded reading, which you did, you will fall back. And notice again, the market started its battle at the 18-day average to decide what to do. I think you're in that same pattern. In the gold-silver ratio, well, silver got up and challenging these old highs, really not going anywhere right now. In the silver itself, as I said, it got hit very hard yesterday. And what it's doing now, it's consolidating that loss. Not saying it's going back up. The trend is down. The resistance is 29.27. The path of least resistance is still down. However, the market's used an awful lot of its power to break down. And I teach that anytime you have a reading under 30 that's not embedded, with both numbers going under 20, no. Not a place to deploy new money. Doesn't mean I'm right on that, but that's what I believe in. In the copper, well, you know the story with China. And I'm proud of myself because I have said now I was going back in my notes and looking at some of my old videos when we were following some of the ETFs on the Chinese. And I kept saying, you can't believe any numbers they tell you. I said, when they don't like a number, what they do is like youth unemployment. We won't publish it anymore. If they don't like how the market's going, they'll say, well, you can't sell on the open or the closed stocks. If you're going to sell a big amount, somebody has to approve that, and it has to go through the government in order to do so. So there's nothing real there. They can make up fantasy. It's a very difficult market if you want to buy into it. And the way you start looking is, who's exporting to China? Are their exports up or down? It used to be that we can look at their electricity figures and backdoor those to say, how are the plants doing? But they even now hide that a lot. So what they do is they get sneaky and they don't want you to know what they're doing. But it's not a free democracy, in all fairness to them. They do what they want. I guess President Xi goes, we need more wheat. We're going to do wheat. We need more electric cars. We're going to do more electric cars. It matters not if they make money or not. This government's going to feed into that. The problem is, how do you move it? Because right now, I think it's Norway and probably China. That's two of the most advanced in electric cars. But today, Volvo even said, no, I bring this all up because copper goes into cars, especially electric cars. It's used in everything. And when Volvo says, nope, by 2030, we thought we could be fully electric. We're going to delay that. We're going to be hybrids and fully electric. Well, I can tell you more and more stories like that are going on. And I'll probably talk a little bit about that tonight when I do my Spider ETF so that people understand this pullback in AI, what's going on, and is it that important? I wrote a whole story on it today in my reports and trying to steer traders in the right direction as best as I can. But I'm looking at the copper. It's logical that it pulls back. China's in a malaise. They are not expanding. They are having trouble exporting. They are having trouble consuming internally. And as that does it, the markets come down. They're trying to rework their mortgage program so people can at least give stability to the market and they can move so much of the unsold product, which would give demand to the copper. But you got to get it done, and they haven't done it yet. In the platinum market, now you're down to the lower Bollinger Band and you're oversold. Let somebody else be the hero to sell that. Wherever it's going, if you go back and you look at when you're oversold in these markets, and how have you fared if you were selling under that Bollinger Band? Not very well. Then we get to the dollar. So we've had what I'll call a bear market rally in the dollar. It went up to the 18-day average, ran out of momentum, and is here. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd ideally like to see it chop around that 18-day average because I do believe the ultimate plays to the downside right now, not the upside, but it's not giving us that play just yet. So you put it together, you got to say to yourself, what do I do next? Well, that is the hard thing. I know what I would do. Take advantage of our special. Move your cursor to the top there. It'll be off on the 8th. Today's going into the 5th. It ends right away in front of you. I'm Ira. Have yourself a good evening, and I'll catch up with you all first thing in the morning.